Hi everybody, welcome back. This will be the second part of the cereal and grains food lab that we started last week. So I'm continuing on with part 2. So here I have today are a variety of flours that we've talked about in lecture. So starting all the way to my right, I have all-purpose, followed by bread flour, cake flour, rye flour, and then cornmeal. So what I've done so far, using my dry measuring cup, I've measured out a cup of each flour, and I've also measured out a fourth cup using my liquid measuring cup of water. And so the directions going forward are for me to mix that fourth cup of water into each flour variety, form a ball, and then place that ball in food grade cheesecloth as I have here, and I will rinse the starch away until all I'm left with is a gluten ball mass. So let's go ahead and do this real quickly. Just briefly demonstrate adding the water into this flour mixture. This is all-purpose flour. So I'm going to stir it really well until all the flour is sticking together to form a nice cohesive ball. Takes a little bit of time. Meanwhile, while I'm doing this, I'm hoping everybody is safe at home and well, and that nobody in your immediate family or anyone you know has developed the virus. If you've been watching the news, you know that the stay-at-home order has been extended to the end of the month, and so hoping that we can shift the spread of this virus in a more positive trend, which of course would be downward. All right, let me see if I can bring this mass together in a ball. Sometimes we have to add a little bit more water, which I may have to do to get it to stick together really well. You just kind of have to play with it to work that moisture into that dry flour. And you can see I'm making a real mess, so you know I'm going to go ahead and add just a tad bit more water. I'm going to take one of my cups that's already measured. Again, this is just a third cup. And I'm going to add half of that water. See if I can finish bringing it together. Go ahead and add a little bit more. It's really messy, very sticky. As I'm working this dough, what I'm actually doing is developing the gluten. If you recall from the lecture and the videos I have been able to attach regarding the development of gluten, the water penetrates the flour molecule, and as the water penetrates the solid molecule and the flour particles stick together, we're forming what we call a lacy network, and trapped inside that lacy network is the water. And what's going to happen is that water that's trapped in between the particles of the flour, when we apply heat, the water within those little cubicles of that lacy network will heat, and eventually steam will be produced, and that will cause the structure to rise. And of course, the more gluten we have in our flours, the stronger that structure is going to be. So that's why there's always this careful balance between kneading dough just enough as opposed to over kneading it. Because when we over knead it, we develop that network strength rather well, and that's what actually toughens our baked product. So that's why I always say baking is an art. It can be very temperamental. It's very, very precise, and the slightest adjustment that is not favorable will totally wreck the outcome. All right, so here is my ball, and you can see it's sticking to my hands. But now I'm gonna go ahead, and I ended up adding another 1/4 cup of water to hydrate the flour enough to get a good firm ball. So I'm gonna go ahead and place it in this cheesecloth, and then I'm going to run water to wash the starch away. We'll be back.